Okay, so how do we write hundredths? So let's say we have the number 423 and 25 hundredths. Okay, so we write the 4, 2, 3 like normal. But see, this number can be written as a decimal because that is less than 1. So when we're going backwards and we're going to write numbers less than 1, we have to put that dot, which is called a decimal. Okay, now we know this spot right here is the tenths place. We just learned that in the other video. It's the tenths place. So what would come next would be the hundredths place. Okay, so if we wanted to write 25 hundredths, we would write 2 and a 5, and that falls in that last number falls in the hundredths category, which is perfect. We have 25 hundredths. We have 25 hundredths. Perfect. Okay. So now, what if we have 24 and 100? Okay. We write our 24 like normal. Now when we need to write a fraction as a decimal, we have to put a decimal point. And now remember, this is our what's place? Tenths place. And then what comes next? Hundredths place. Okay, so we need to put our 1 not in the tenths place, but we need to put our 1 in the hundredths place. So what goes there? Do we just leave it blank? Nope. We put a 0 there. Okay, so we have 24 and 100ths. Now the reason we didn't put a 0 here is because we actually had a 2 in the tenths place. So we could break this apart as being tenths and hundredths, and then when we put it in our decimal point place, it fits perfectly. But if this was only a 5 hundredths, so if this was 423 and 5 hundredths, then we would have to write it as 423 decimal point 0 5. Okay, because we didn't have any of those tenths, so we put a 0 there to hold that place. So tenths, hundredths, it's the same thing as our fractions, tenths and hundredths. Okay? All right, so let's look back at our lesson. Just a second. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so let's look at this example right here. So we have 0.7. So is that 7 in the tenths place or the hundredths place? It's in the tenths place. So that is the same thing as 7 tenths written like that. Okay, and then we've got 0.5. Is that 5 in the tenths place or is it in the hundredths place? It's in the tenths place. So it looks like this. So what they're asking you is which one's bigger? Well, let's just say we had 10 cookies. Would you rather have 7 out of those 10 or would you rather have 5 out of those 10? Well, I'd rather have 7. That's more. So my alligator is going to reach the 7. Okay, same thing with decimals. 7 tenths is more than 5 tenths. Okay, we can also just look at the numbers. So we've got 3 tenths and 6 tenths. Well, which one's bigger, the 6 or the 3? the 6 is. So the alligator wants to eat the 6 tenths. 8 tenths is bigger than 7 tenths. 9 tenths is bigger than 8 tenths. 0.3 is the same thing as 3 tenths. 0.4 is the same thing as 4 tenths. We know that 4 tenths is bigger, so 0.4 is bigger. It's just an overview.
How do we know which decimal is larger? If we are comparing 1900ths and 7100ths, how do we know which decimal is larger? In this lesson, you will learn how to compare two decimals to the hundredths place by using fraction models. Let's take a minute to review place value. For this lesson, we'll be focusing on the place values to the right of the decimal point. Directly to the right of the decimal point is the tenths place. The tenths place indicates that the whole 1 has been split into 10 pieces. A digit in this place indicates how many pieces of that size we have. So in this number, the 2 in the tenths place shows that we have 2 pieces of 1/10 size. To the right of the tenths place is the hundredths place. The hundredths place indicates that the same whole has been split into 100 pieces. So a digit in this place indicates how many pieces of that size we have. In this number, the 3 in the hundredths place shows that we have 3 pieces of 1/100th size. We read this number as 23 hundredths. Some decimals can be read using different denominators. Let's take 0.2 for example. One way to read this is 2 tenths because it represents 2 out of 10. We can also think of this decimal as being out of 100. So instead of 10 parts, let's divide our picture into 100 parts. We can see that we now have 20 parts shaded in. This decimal is 20 hundredths, which is written as 0.20. So 2 tenths and 20 hundredths are 2 ways to represent the same amount.
Okay, they are the same. Remember that word equivalent we were learning? So she just said 2 tenths, which is the same thing as what? This. Okay, and 2 hundredths, which is the same thing as this.
Let's take 0.2 for example. One way to read this is 2 tenths